Today, I'm very excited to have a special guest, Graeme from Serco. Graeme, thank you very much for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Thank you, Jasmine. I'm absolutely delighted to be here and to be involved in support and to share what Serco are trying to achieve in collaboration with the Butterfly. My name is Graeme Flaws. I've been with the company a long time, nearly 30 years, both in the UK initially and then in the Middle East for the last 17 years. My role is one of the operations directors. I sit on the Serco executive leadership team and we run multiple contracts across the whole region for government. That's basically what Serco do. So I'm delighted to be here and hopefully I can answer your questions.
Thank you so much. So the first question, what are the areas of focus for Serco when it comes to employment of people of determination?
Great question. Well, Serco's been in existence globally for 70 years, based in the UK. We operate out of the UK as a listed company. And our colleagues in the UK are definitely several years ahead of Serco Middle East in the recruiting and having persons of disability within the organisation. So they've got a sub culture called Serco Unlimited, and that was really where we took our inspiration from. Sadly, there's been two very prominent Serco members of staff. One who was in an accident, and a second outside of work, and then a second one who actually took unwell in a Serco meeting one day. Both of those individuals now are registered persons of disability, and the company just wrapped themselves around those individuals, and it's just grown from there. So getting back to Serco Middle East, we're in a relatively early part of our journey. I personally was brought up in a family where we had persons with disability within the family, so I was completely comfortable with it. And being in region as long as I have and the company has, we wanted to tap in and understand the talent pool that's out there within the POD demographic. Yeah. But we're very early in the journey. So the main focus for us about 12 months ago, slightly longer, was how do we tap into that? How do we understand what that talent pool is? Which institutions are out there? I think the UAE and the regions, in very early stages of this journey, and as Serco were. So our first and primary, we've got a huge amount of support from our CEO across many people in the company. But for us, I was aware that I had colleagues who had disabilities, probably hidden disabilities, but I was aware of it. Yeah. And how do we develop a safe place within Serco Middle East for those colleagues to come forward? We are proud of our diversity and inclusion culture within the company, but that had to include the POD community, and more so of hidden disabilities rather than obvious ones. So that was the first place. How do we become an employer? How does Serco Middle East become a safe place for people coming forward and knowing that the support? Then the second one, and the key driver for me, is how do we become an employer of choice in country and in region for the demographic of POD? So that was the main areas of focus initially, and then how do we make that happen? So we kind of get a bit of a think tank of people got together, and we really just started researching, and that is where the Butterfly, Marilena, and the whole team came to we became aware of them, and that was the other thing, was just what support network is in region that can help us on our journey.
Brilliant. No, it's amazing the work that you're doing. What are examples of challenges and successes that Serco have experienced so far that could be useful for other companies to learn from?
Great question. Challenges, there's plenty of them, but all well intentioned. I think for the pocket of us that have got experience, that knew this is something we wanted to do, the initial challenge was just how do we spread that work? How do we, as an executive and a senior leadership team, embrace this across the business and make us inclusive? There is, and I want this to sound in the positive way that it's meant, but across many walks of life, and our company was no different. There's a perception initially when we started talking about it that this was a charitable, road that we wanted to go down. Of course, it's not a charitable road in any way, shape or form, but when you first start talking about many colleagues, both within the company and slightly extensive outside, the first reaction is, well, that'll be great. We'll have events for people with disability. And, you know, so that was a challenge and remains a challenge to this day. This is not a charitable journey we're on. This is a journey of becoming an employer of choice and genuinely trying to tap into the amazing talent and capability that POD residents and nationals have got in the local area. So that was the first thing. The next thing and the journey that we're still on is, and all of us are learning here with this, is the significant spectrum of disabilities, and how do we embrace that? How do we learn about it? I mean, you know, I've spoken to Marlene and you know, other colleagues. I've spoken to the butterfly colleagues many times. When you start scratching the surface, the spectrum of disabilities is so large. So, you know, the obvious physical ones are there for people to see, but I was aware that I had colleagues and staff that had hidden disabilities that actually could do with a bit more support than they were probably getting. And then you come into the whole autistic spectrum, which we've got. You know, we haven't had him tested. I believe my younger son has got ADHD or something very close to it. I've got colleagues, Danny Blizzard, who's a great support of this. She's a mother of autistic children. So, you know, and again, those challenges and the journey we're on wasn't just about necessarily our own employees. It was about our employees' bigger. You know, who are they supporting? People with children. There's some colleagues that are supporting parents and siblings and in region. So those were challenges, and those remain. Successes, there've been many very quickly. We're still at tiny steps, but you know, and I will genuinely mean it. Meeting the butterfly has been a huge success for us. Getting on that journey with them. You know, getting invited to collaborate with the IEE has been incredible. It's been such a almost a comfort certainly for me personally, and I know for some of our colleagues, to have Marlene and the team, Anna and everybody else coming and presenting, meeting, you know, people that are involved with the butterfly and sharing stories and experiences. Bringing them into our leadership within Serco Middle East, and our extended leadership's about 60, 70 people. And having those workshops, those presentations, and understanding that the butterfly have got an incredible network, and they're speaking to government, they're speaking to other private entities, and then being introduced to the IEE and going along to the first couple of meetings and seeing that there's other, you know, there's companies on the IEE that are competitors of ours, but that really doesn't matter. There's companies on there that are clients of ours. And so that for me in the first 7 or 8 months of being members has been the single biggest success. And we're able to take that enthusiasm and thinking back into our company to know that we're not alone in this journey. And there are like-minded, there's institutions, there's support function, and there's like-minded companies that were having the same thoughts and challenges that we were having. So those are probably the initial challenges which are ongoing and the initial successes so far.
No, thank you very much. And I think you've kind of answered my second question about the biggest, what is the biggest benefit of collaborating with us? I mean, you mentioned bringing people together, communities, having those conversations, learning, all of those things.
Yeah, I mean, and I can expand on that a little bit. I mean, just the support, meeting, and I'm going to keep mentioning Marlene, obviously, but the passion for this, the enthusiasm, the knowledge, the expertise, the understanding of the challenges, learning about, you know, the support that the butterfly are putting into the community from, you know, supporting parents and children and everything, but then understanding that listening to those families and understanding that the next step, it's not just about education, it's not about the schools, you know, that support children and young adults with disability, but it's the next steps. It's how do you get people into the workplace? That was what we were trying to tap into, and we didn't know where to go. So the creation of the IEE now just over 12 months ago, and you know, we're very proud to be involved in the 1 year anniversary of that. But just that, we had a gap in our business that we were trying to fill, and the butterfly have brought an awful lot of thinking. Now we missed some of the early workshops, the monthly get-togethers, but we've seen all the literature. Our team are now pouring through that, and so that's been the benefit of the collaboration, and just the meeting some of the butterfly support group people that Marlena brings in to present. I'm not going to name them all, but having them in front of our leadership, our extended leadership, and listening to the real life stories, the anecdotal stories, the challenges that people with disabilities. So we've had lecturers, we've had young members, colleagues who are now just recently graduating that are looking to get into the workplace, and they're sharing real life stories and examples of the pitfalls of going down the recruitment process. How do you interview? How do you onboard? So knowing that we've got the Butterfly and their extended network has been, for me, it's really accelerated our journey and given us the confidence within Serco to be talking about it, as we did very recently, which I'll come on to in a minute.
Exactly. No, thank you, Graeme. And how do you envisage the role of the IEE in shaping the future of inclusion and accessibility in the region?
It's just going to go from strength to strength. We've already started advertising our involvement within our supply chain. What we've done in very recent times, just before the kind of Middle East summer break, we've created a Serco Middle East committee. And obviously I'm the executive sponsor for that, but we put that out after the last leadership conference where Marlena and the team came and presented to our extended leadership. We asked for volunteers. We've got more than we can actually deal with on a committee. So we formed that committee. We've only met twice. We met again coincidentally earlier this week. The enthusiasm, and that's just not for the UAE. We've got colleagues in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as well. And we've got people joined that who have been involved in things like Gatwick Airport. So our contract manager who runs the contracts at Dubai Airport is ex-Gatwick Airport. He was one of the leaders of the Sunflower Group in the UK. And to suddenly have this open up. So I'm kind of going slightly off track from your question, but
that's okay.
From my initial involvement and Danny's initial involvement, coming along as members and of the IEE, we've now spread that out. So, with Manuela's approval, we've now got people coming in through Serco Middle East who can now come and present at the IEE. And as just from that small group, the number of people in our company who know people and have got contacts in other organisations, other companies, this network's just going to grow and grow. And I think if year one was successful, years 2 and 3 are just going to, it's going to get to the point where I think it's going to be a challenge to have all members together in on a very regular basis without, hiring a massive auditorium. I didn't even know. I've got a colleague and he was reporting into me, one of my contract managers in Saudi. He's actually just moved to another part of the business, but still within the business. He's on rail engineering networks where he lectures on how to bring young engineers with autism into the engineering industry. He's lecturing in December in a UK university. We didn't know about that. So us embracing, us putting, having it as an agenda topic at our extended leadership. Clive's just put his hand up and said, I didn't know you were doing this. This is from my engineering business in the UK, or previous companies he worked for in the UK. He's involved in this. And he's got family who've got autism, he's involved, and you go, wow. So, we're going to grow our knowledge and our capability, and we're going to share that with everybody. So a large part of our contract-based work for the Mubadala investment company, the government investment company, and of course Mubadala have now become a partner, Mubadala Health. So the network there from just the Mubadala Health contacts and colleagues across the whole of the Mubadala portfolio. Other clients within the Mubadala portfolio are saying to me, we've heard that Serco are involved with the Butterfly, and there's a thing called IEE through Mubadala Health now been involved. So it's just going to accelerate, and I'm incredibly excited. Aldar, and I don't mind naming them on here, Aldar are a client of ours. And, we've worked with Aldar for many, many years on and off, and to have Aldar involved, to name but another company, that network is just going to expand through contacts and sharing knowledge. And I genuinely believe that we may get down to the point where we're interviewing potential candidates and we might not have an exact job or opportunity for them, but through the IE network, we just share, we might first, second interview, we share that information and we share candidates that we might not have the perfect role for, but we share our journey that we've been on with those particular, potential candidates, a talent pool of POD candidates, and we share that across the IE. That's where I think we're going to get real growth as well, real momentum.
Wow, Graeme, that's all I can say. It just sounds like it's going all in the right direction, and it's just like you said, it's going from strength to strength, and
very quickly. Yes, which is
quickly.
Exciting. Very exciting.
Exactly. Well, it's such an important mission, isn't it? We're just coming to the end now. Is there anything else you would just like to say before we go?
If anybody, thank you. And I suppose to finish, if anybody gets to hear this podcast or this video, I'm not quite sure where it's going to be circulated, but if anybody's got any doubts, concerns, uncertainties, a company like Serco Middle East, Serco globally, have been involved in this for many, many years, but we're still in the early part of our journey. We've got far more people who are enthusiastic and know very little about it, but are enthusiastic. And that would be my part and shot. If anybody wants to get involved, wants to learn more, the IEE, with the underpinned by the butterflies, an incredibly safe place to come and learn. And I think that was what myself and Danny got initially from. We felt welcomed. We felt it was a great network already, and it was a place that and I've discussed it with Marlena and Anna, and people just put your hand up. We don't know what we don't know, but there is a huge amount of enthusiasm, huge amount of support, and an incredible talent pool of individuals that just need a chance, and they need the right companies to come along and give them those chances. But the back into our businesses, and I will finish on the fact that since we started this journey, Serco Middle East has recruited now 8 incredibly talented individuals of POD, and over and above that, I've had 4 since the leadership conference that Marlon presented at, and one of our colleagues, a guy called Shannon, came to the front of the room and explained what his POD, his invisible POD, was. Since then, we've had 4 more colleagues have stepped forward and put their hand up, and we're happy to share. And so that for me in 7 or 8, 9 months of this year. So if anybody's listening to this, anybody wants to get involved, then it's a great place to come and start those conversations.
No, thank you so much, Graeme. And just wanted to say, when you mentioned about the safe space, I think that is one of the most important parts, isn't it? Because I think there could be a lot of fear around this as well.
Of course.
People are scared of making mistakes, but the safe space, that's when we can thrive and start to make those positive changes. But thank you so much, Graeme. It's been a pleasure to talk to you on the Butterfly podcast. Thank you so much.
Look forward to seeing you very soon.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks now. Bye.